Hello, everybody. It's Gary Stuckey with Real Music. On today's show, I've got a special guest. Now, he's not a musician, he's an actor. His name is Keith Coogan. You might know he's the grandson of the late, great Jackie Coogan of the Addams family, Uncle Fester. But Keith has been on a lot of TV shows in the 80s. You might know he's been on just like every one of them, like Silver Spoons or Knight Rider or Chips, just to name a few. He's been in a lot of movies too. I really love Adventures in Babysitting and Don't Tell Mom the Babysitter's Dead. We're going to talk about those movies and a lot more stuff. He's been in a lot of other things too. You need to check him out. And we talk about what he's been doing. Got some new projects coming up. What a blast to talk to him. Really cool guy. But here he is. Here's Keith Coogan.
What's going on,
Thank
man?
you, thank you. Yeah, no, I just hopped off another what was that? A Google Meetup interview, and thank you for fitting me in here. I have terrible schedule, and I really appreciate
Hey, man.
you moving things around and doing it right now.
Sure. And having a lot going on, that's a good thing, right? When you're busy.
It is. I fight it. I like to focus on one thing and have time around it. Here I feel like I've been lost, down the Goonies water slide. So
Yeah, right.
I'm just gonna ride with it.
Hey.
What is
So what's
it?
been happening?
God doesn't throw anything at you that you're not prepared for.
This is true. He sure don't do that. So what's been going on with you lately? I know you've been busy here lately, as you said. So what's up with that?
Oh gosh. Well, we had been picking back up after pandemic on the autograph convention circuit, going nuts. 2, 3 conventions a month, a lot of travel, and then a couple of projects I was working on. Something great thing that I just had to put a lot of time into. And with the non-disclosure agreement I signed, it's like the one thing I want to talk about but can't.
Yeah.
And right as that wraps up, just summer and travel. I work for a living. I have an actual 9 to 5 at a Sony Studios as a tour guide.
Cool.
Here's the Esther Williams stage,
Cool.
and which is really special. I had my grandfather and great grandfather worked there, 99 years ago in 1924, and so that it's great. They're really flexible. So if I need to do an autograph convention, it's just you work Monday through bit of Friday, hop on a plane, go do the autograph set up autograph convention Friday night, Saturday, Sunday, hop on a plane, come home. I'm not complaining, but I'm complaining. I'm whining. I'm just whining. That's all. Never mind me. I love it. I love the travel. I love it. Be fast. Wouldn't do it if I didn't.
I don't think anybody's
just
going to say.
sometimes it's feast or famine. When it rains, it pours, and there could be nothing for 18 months, and then everything fits into 18 days. So that's
But how soon you forget, though, when nothing's happened, and you're like, but that's life, though. You
it's
go through all that stuff.
drinking. You gotta take the shot first, and then drink beer,
Yeah,
because you take the shot that goes right to your bloodstream,
that's
and then your
right.
beer it comes in slow. Now, if you do it the other way around, if you drink the beer first, that doesn't hit your bloodstream for a minute. Then you take a shot; they both hit your bloodstream at the same time, and you get sick.
See, there you go.
Right now,
It works
I don't know
out.
what order I took the drinks in, but someone keeps buying.
Yeah,
It's
right.
fine. And what are you up to? Where are you? What
I,
area of the
I
world?
I am in Bruton, Alabama, South Alabama. I always
Fantastic.
say, I say home of William Lee Golden of the Oak Ridge Boys. I always say that. The guy with the long beard in the Oak Ridge Boys.
Yes.
But yeah, man. I'm excited to talk to you. Been a fan for a long time, and growing up, you got me by a few years, but in that age group, some of the best times ever, the 80s were the best times ever. Can anybody deny that? Can they dispute that comment?
Well, if I said Mikey, Data, Chunk, you know what I'm talking about, right?
Exactly. Yes.
If I said Atreyu and Bastion and you know what I'm talking about,
Yeah.
Sarah, Brad, Daryl, Chris. Um, there was a time travel movie in the 80s. I don't know if you saw it. Michael J. Fox.
Yeah. Yeah. What was that all
Right.
about?
I don't know. He played a character named
Yeah. What
Marty
was
McFly,
Marty
right?
McFly? Yeah, that's right.
So there's a new time travel movie out, I think right at pandemic. The Tomorrow War on Amazon Prime. And they said it's as many viewing hours as the original Back to the Future. I'll give you $1,000 if you can name Chris Pratt's character from the Tomorrow War.
Oh wow.
I'll wait.
You'll wait. Let me go. I'll Google.
Yeah, well, okay, now that's off. But the thing, it's Dan something. So the thing is there's not. They don't make characters. They're cutouts. They serve a function of an effect and an arc to serve a runtime and be content. That's as simple as I can say it.
Right.
How few do you come across anything that breaks the boundaries of that gets thrown all the way over into art film, lower budget, Sundance bait, Oscar bait. There's no in between picture anymore. I think
Yeah.
that Jennifer Lawrence did a great job with, oh God, what's her No Hard Feelings? A funny,
Yeah.
dirty, sexy comedy in theaters, and it made its money. But that's Sony for you. Sorry, I'm plugging my own studio,
So there you go. They'll throw you some money
which
your
I'm not
way.
allowed to do during the strike. So shh, no, no,
Yeah.
no.
Don't tell anybody.
How do I know
Yeah.
that wasn't a negative pickup? No,
Well,
I
yeah. Let's.
love. I love see movies in theaters, and it doesn't have to just be the Marvel and the superhero and the Star Wars stuff. It can be, funny little character dramas. And the 80s had tons of that. Look at their Breakfast Clubs
Sure.
and 16 Candles had some scope. There were smaller movies, coming of age movies. They all did. The 80s, of course, came up with the hook.
Mhm.
That one hook that you could tell Jeffrey Katzenberg in the elevator on the way down from the animation building at Disney, and you could be like, "Hey, it's Dennis Quaid and Martin Short, and then we shrink one and put them in the other. Oh, great, green like that."
So cool. Oh man. I mean, the movies. It didn't really matter about the plots and this. I mean, you just expected a good movie, and they were just coming out a lot of times. The actors were there. You knew that the movie. I don't know. It was just good times. The movies were just kind of automatic. I don't know. They
you
just seemed
you
they were.
expected it to be original.
Yeah.
A Doberman Gang, which I love Doberman Gang. They should remake that. You don't know when you're going in if it's going to be French Connection or Exorcist or Clockwork Orange or Every Which Way But Loose.
Oh yeah.
Everything has a different texture or tone. You have some filmmakers making the greatest films of their careers, like 2001 or Butch Cassidy and the Sundance Kid and Bonnie and Clyde. Those kinds of films in the 80s, there was a nice medium picture. They only cost 10, maybe $20 million to produce. They usually had a light action adventure to it, risky, outrageous fortune, ruthless people. A lot of these are Touchstone film, mind you. Stakeout.
Yeah.
There was a Katzenberg decree. He said, we're going to make $8 million movies. Just cap the budget at that. And every once in a while, you hope you get $100 million hit. And then they created the single most successful film finance company ever, Silver Screen Partners 3, which financed all of the Touchstone films, including Adventures in Babysitting.
Of course.
Gave you 600% return on your money.
Oh, wow.
Can you tell me any other investment that gives you a 600% return on your money?
I wish I knew.
Crazy. And now, and studios pretty much always had to run to the bank for a bank loan to make movies. So it's just getting more expensive to borrow the money.
Yeah, right.
Part of the budget is the interest they got to pay back.
That's right. It's not the same as it used to be as far as that goes, right? I mean,
No.
it's a different world.
And everyone failed up. Lucas with THX 1138, Spielberg with Sugarland Express. Landis had a pretty foul, I think, one before Animal House. I don't even think he counts it. That James Cameron disowned Piranha 2. Right? Was it Piranha?
I think so. I like that movie. That scared the crap out of me.
Oh, they're great. All of them are great. Every horror film ever made between 1974 and 1987, 8. When was Freddy 4 out? 88, 89?
Yeah, I was going to say late 80s.
Yeah. That's the end of the great, that horror era from Sean S. Cunningham and New Line Cinema and Wes Craven. You had Freddy. You had Jason. You had Mike Myers.
Right.
It was fantastic. And we didn't care that it got kind of worse or better.
Right.
They really only had, I think all of them only had one like bad one. You could say for Freddy, it was 2. For Jason, it might have been Jason 3D.
Yeah.
For
Halloween, that third
2.
One. Was it 2 or 3? The third one
was,
yeah, that was the third one, and they didn't have. He wasn't even in the Michael Myers wasn't in that movie. Sucked.
Right. You can't do that. You can't go shoot another movie and then go, we're going to slap the title on it and call it that and retcon it back into the universe. I remember there was a movie that came out, Dead and Buried. And I don't know if you like horror or anything like that.
Yeah.
Just, oh, God. We had good zombie movies, that kind of stuff. Yeah. But funny zombies. The Return of the Living Dead, Night of the Living Dead 2 zombies. It was fun. The 80s were fun, right?
Yeah, I mean, they're memorable. I mean, the movies were memorable, but you had memorable people. The actors were great. Not that they're not today. I don't know. It was something. It was a magical time. Right.
Yeah, and it was. I think it was kind of before straight to video, because really, I think E.T. was one of the first big video releases. I know Alien was the first movie to be released on video cassette. That the straight to video thing didn't really feel like it happened until the 80s things petered out, I feel.
Yeah.
Like Aladdin 2, things like that, where you're like, we start to understand what it, I guess B movies, then started to go back to straight to video.
Right.
But there was a moment in the 80s where everything got on the screen, from Repo Man to, Three Ninjas. We'll throw it up on the screen. We don't care.
Let's see what happens. Yeah. That was some cool. I mean, I remember though, I missed going to the movie, was it movie gallery or Blockbuster or whatever you call it, and renting movies on a Friday night. I miss the simple times. You don't have those. Everything's out there. You can do anything you want to now. There was no. I just miss going to waiting to see and not knowing everything. Like on the internet, you find out everything about everything. You find out all about the movie and who's in it and what's There was kind of a mystery years ago. You didn't really understand, even on TV shows. When you'd look at TV Guide or something, and that would show you some things. But there wasn't a whole lot of things out there. But
I feel like, because I saw a lot of movies, I was exposed to new movies coming out for the trailers coming out. And then the poster would show up and you go, oh, it's coming. And it was it. The trailer, the poster, then the thing dropped. There wasn't a lot of behind the scenes or let's go visit the set.
Right.
Entertainment Tonight kind of a thing. They started to do that, but they maybe even would do teasers, which had no footage from the movie. Think the first Gremlins teaser, or they would just have a shot of something and they're like, coming this summer. And literally just tease you.
Yeah. Love that voice.
There wasn't a lot of coverage going up now, except if you were into effects or horror, you could go to Fangoria and FX magazine and see all of the sets and creatures before the thing comes out.
Right. Exactly. Well, let's go back in time now, because I want to know this. There's things I want to know about you. Like, how old were you when you first started acting? You had to be pretty young when you first had your first role. How old were you?
First job was stand-in on a McDonald's commercial. And the director actually wanted to use me for it because I didn't know the difference between stand-in and being the kid in the commercial. So I was like, "Ooh, Big Mac, yeah." He's like, "Oh, get the kid with the eyes." And then I wound up doing like extra work once. I think it was a Coast Soap commercial. You saw my left shoulder. It was a school bus, and the school bus driver was having a day. We're all in our places with bright shiny faces. We just sing. I'm sorry, my wife's right over here.
She's like, what?
And then I got an Orbit, chewing gum. And then the McDonald's guy called back, and I did a series of McDonald's commercials. Then Texaco and KFC and Sugar Corn Pops and Dig 'em Smacks and Rice Krispies. A lot of cereals. A lot of cereals. A lot of animated characters where you have to, look and kind of imagine there's something there. I was good with like the props and hitting the mark and the stuff. And so they're like, "Kid, hey, we got done early. Let's hire this kid again."
Yeah, right.
And that turned into continuing to do commercials. Then I started to do guest appearances on TV shows like Chips,
Right.
and movies of the week. Some intense ones at first. Battered with Mike Farrell and Carol Grassel, Chip Fields, Kitty Lester, and it was about domestic violence.
Wow.
Purely Legal Matter about lesbian mothers being sued by the ex-dad for custody of the kids, and I was the kid they were fighting over. And these were heavy. They were like Emmy and Golden Globe nominated. And that was very, very cool. But I'm instantly at 6, I'm working with method actors like Jenna Rollins, Jane Alexander, Kluge Uliger. And I was also working with hacks on commercials, where you could see the dad in, the commercial just grinding his teeth, thinking about the Coke he's going to buy with the money he just made in the commercial. And I'm like, boy, these people need a break. And then, but getting to work, like I did an early commercial for Viewmaster Viewer, one of my earlier jobs, and Henry Fonda in the commercial. I was hanging upside down out of a tree, but yeah. So like Pop's commercial, I'm up on a bike 30 feet in the air, like an ET riding the bike, blue screen kind of a thing. Weird stuff. I did then I did like after school specials. One was Rascal, based on the Sterling North book, and worked with live raccoons. This started a trend of me working with animals, from the chicken and the cat and the horses and the dog, on Walton's. Harold is the cat. I don't remember the chicken's name. Reckless is the dog. The Western series, where I rode Western and English saddle. Worked with snakes, cheetah, hippos, rhinos, every single. And Lassie, I got to present a Kids' Choice Award with Lassie. So I was just weirdly good with props and animals and all that stuff. And at this point, I'm auditioning for movies. And I'm not getting The Shining, Goonies, Gremlins, Stand By Me, Christmas Story, The Toy, Lucas, name it. And you get close. You're like, oh, it's down to me and somebody else. And then continuing TV all the way through the Waltons, a couple of other little series, lots of guest appearances, Knight Rider even.
Oh yeah.
Fantasy Island, Mork and Mindy, Laverne and Shirley. And then I got Adventures of Babysitting, which was, and also back in 79, 78, started on Fox and the Hound.
Yes.
Did the voice from 78, 79, 80, and the movie came out in 81.
I remember. I actually talked to Corey Feldman, who did the other voice. So now I've completed my people to talk to about the Fox and the Hound. But yeah, I'm 1981. I was in in elementary school, and I'm watching the movie, never thinking that I would talk to the Fox and the Hound one day. And now, now my journey is complete. Hey, those roles though, so cool though to be a kid and your experience in that. How does a kid separate that, reality from, when you're acting and it's something in your mind, you're going, okay, I'm going to do this role. But at the same time, you got to be like, oh man, there's whoever the main star of the show. I love this guy. How do you be serious and be calm and just focus as a kid?
Oh,
Because
because
I feel like,
you see them being a human too.
yeah,
They're like, oh, they don't know their lines. They can't handle the prop. They, break character during the filming, and you go, they're people too. You instantly relax. And the better ones at that were David Hasselhoff, Ralph Waite, Michael Learned, Michael Landon. They could all be a little brusque, have some salty language,
oh
tell
yeah,
the truth. Well, you're gonna do it that way? That sucked. I mean, you what? Oh, snap into it. These are Broadway seasoned legendary actors. So quickly, and my family didn't suffer not trying or not preparing. As long as you give it your best shot, then yeah, sometimes you're miscast. Let's just be honest. And I did work a lot. Um and yeah, sometimes you hit a part that you're not quite ready for.
yeah, I understand. Um, of course, your grandfather, Jackie Coogan. Um, so that had to help you in some ways when in your acting career. How did he influence you though?
If my mother would let anybody know that he was my grandfather.
Ah,
So
aha,
you'll notice my early credits are all under Keith Mitchell
that's right.
for 10 years.
Wow,
Everything
wow.
from 1976 to 1986, I did under my mother's main married name, my birth name. So, because it was my mother's father who was Jackie Coogan.
Right.
So she's a Coogan, but I'm not. Um, so after establishing a 10-year TV career, about 80 hours of television, and then when I did got Adventures of Babysitting, we called Silver Spoons because I'd already done it, and they were going to bill me as Keith Mitchell, and we said, "Can we change that to Coogan?" And so it was 2 years after Jack had died, and I felt that if I keep working in this industry, I would like them to remember him. And oh, Keith Coogan, oh, his grandfather was da 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 da, and so that's kind of the reason I did it, and also helped change from adolescent kid TV to growing up, being a young adult. Change the name. You're changing your headshots every year or two anyway.
Yeah, I bet.
And at that time, we had seen artists like Madonna completely change their look, their sound, their producers, their hair, their outfits. Like you go, wait, I thought she was iconically the lace and the thing. No, now
Yeah,
she's this. And you go, oh, now it's something else. And you go, you can do that? You're allowed to do that?
right.
And my focus has always been to be a character actor. So I would dye my hair, cut my hair, shave the thing, wear makeup, do whatever to become that other person. Loved it. Love that. Favorite part of the job is creating a character.
Cool. Did your grandfather though give you advice as far as acting? And what did he say to you? He didn't give you
No,
anything, nothing to
no, he
remember.
would never go near that. That's sacred. Um, he'd say that's yours. That's yours to make your decisions and do your thing. I had gone up for Tom Sawyer, and he had done the first talkie version of Tom Sawyer when he was 13, and I said, "Oh, and Disney's doing a new version." I said, "Oh, Grandpa, I'm going to go up for Tom Sawyer. Would you help me with the scene?" And he goes, "No,
Oh,
um,
wow.
that's for you to work on and prepare yourself." So that was a good lesson. Nobody's gonna make it easy for you, and no one can make your decisions for you too, or else they won't be honest.
Yeah, right. Let's Was that the tough love kind of thing going on with the?
Oh,
I
very
mean,
tough. Most
yeah.
people have a premiere, they get accolades. I got notes.
I mean, really.
My,
I mean,
no, seriously, my mom, people, family would be like, "Oh, well, that was good. In this, you could have." And I go, "It's out. This is the movie. Live with it." And I learned to live because I did work a lot. I learned to live with it. You learn, you do it, you move on to the next job, and you don't and necessarily. If you work enough, you're lucky enough not to have to dwell on any part.
yeah.
Was that the end of my career? No, you're on another job, and You have plenty of opportunities to make that your last job.
Sure. There's always that.
We got every job the last day of work. You're like, well, that's it. Going on unemployment tomorrow. Never work again.
Hey,
The key is to get onto another movie before the last one comes out. Because if it's a bomb, you might not get another part.
You got to be ready for it. But that being surrounded by people, that probably came in handy though, with people telling you the truth as opposed to people blowing smoke and buttering you up and saying
absolutely
lies.
Oh,
That's
sure.
Be good.
Yeah,
family members,
they do
friends,
remind you you're nothing in it, because it is about the studios, it's about the money, it is about the audience first of all. And we had already seen things like, I was on the Waltons when I was 9. They'd fired John Boy. If they can fire John Boy off of his own show, the Waltons, replace him with an actor that looks just like him, even as the mole, then you go, you know what, keep your head down, do your part, don't try to be too bad. Unless you come into a lot of money and you can run your own network, then shut the hell up and do the best you can and make it quick, make it snappy. They got to get to lunch.
Wow.
I was known as One Take Mitchell.
Wow.
They got it. They're like, we got it. It was clear. He said every word. Yep. That was this. We got it. Do we need to take another? No. They checked the gate. It was very, very, that was part of my pride, was being able to nail it when you roll the camera.
It's because you were disciplined though into that, right? Because you were so, I guess, because of all, nobody really probably
everyone had respect for film then, like TV and tape, or like taping a TV show. That's different. That's live. That's like doing theater, and they're happy to film it. Film is expensive, and it takes a lot of time to set up and light, and you have to respect it. And that might be part of the reason. I'm not saying actors aren't talented, but I don't think the actors are given the time to respect the take. They're just like, all right, ready, Mary, rolling, go. We're shooting a rehearsal. Yeah, pick up from they don't let them get into a scene and like really, they really just the manufacturing part of making a movie has overtaken the art part. To some, what we are seeing is great writing come through, but it also isn't enjoying the same process that we used to have. So in network television in the past, they would write a pilot, and the audience kind of liked it. They go, they did, but they don't like that actor. Right, get rid of them. Ooh, add a new girl. Okay, cool. Then you start the series, and you get an order of 6, maybe 12. You do half of the season, and then they go, as they're airing them, they're listening to the audience. Hey, they really like Sam and Diane. I don't know. Okay. Wow. And you can start adjusting episodes as you go. And it can totally evolve. They really like something someone's doing. They can start adding more of them. Today, they shoot everything and then dump it at once. You can binge watch everything. No chance for an audience to come in, start to affect the show, start to be vocal online. Lost, we understood that J.J. Abrams, David Lindelof were in the message boards we were in, sucking story ideas right off of us.
Right. And that's cool.
We're like, watch, polar bear. All of a sudden, a damn polar bear shows up on the show.
Right. It worked. That's fun. I should have done that. I didn't think about that.
I've got to go back. I think I found one of the message boards I lurked for Lost. Lost was one of the greatest television shows ever.
Great show, yeah. Was it same guys that did Alias? I liked Alias.
Yeah,
that was a good show. I always liked it. You were talking about roles that you were up for, all those cool 80s roles that you mentioned, like Stand By Me or something. What was a role that you were so close to getting that you almost got and you didn't get and you were so disappointed? Was there some of those?
Oh, I mean, I Dream a Little Dream. I had been cast as Digger. Had gone to the production office, hanging out. And then was at the Young Artist Awards, and Feldman on stage goes, and I want to introduce my co-star, and I'm like getting ready to stand up. Corey, what? So no one told me I wasn't in the movie anymore, and that kind of broke my heart. But that was a uniquely Haim role. No one could have done it like Haim did. So yeah, Digger's totally Haim.
Yeah, totally.
So much so that when his mother ran over him with a car, on accident. We presume if you met Corey, it might not have been on accident. Is that sorry, love him to death, but that they go, we're not going to reshoot. We're not going to go back to our first second choice, Keith. We're just going to put Digger in a cast and have him do the movie in the cast. Oh my God, I never catch a break. But it's fine. I understood there's people that wanted to be in Toy Soldiers that couldn't. So,
you got that, yeah, though. No, tell me something, though. Making these movies, a lot of your movies, though, are comedies. You're funny. You're that character guy. You got long hair.
Comedy.
You're funny, and I love them too. That's my favorite movies of all time. But how do you go from that to a serious role? If you want to be in a serious role, how does somebody go, that's that guy, he's crazy? How is he going to be?
No difference, I don't think, because I take my comedy very seriously. And I think that the key to drama is to not play it super serious. Be loose, people take grief or shock or, fright. They all handle it differently. Some people will laugh. They're going to kill us. We're dead. How would we gotten game over, man? Game over. If Paxton hadn't tapped into a complete 7-year-old who's lost his teddy bear. So I don't know.
That's right. Well, how much of you comes out in a character? I mean, I know when you're taking a role seriously and you're getting into that character, but does somehow some of you comes out kind of naturally, so you use it, you roll with it? How does that work?
You're applying all of your subjective experiences to this character, and in cases where you haven't done this thing or had this scene that you have to imagine, or there's so many different methods. One is living realistically under imagined circumstances. So you imagine the whole thing as real as you can, and then how would you really react? Others is just build a character. You see how he'd react. You're like, oh, I want him to do this. And you go, how do I get there? That's kind of crafting from the outside in. And certain movies need that. Like Scott Pilgrim versus the World. Can't cut to someone sitting there doing Olivier or a Brando. The pacing needs very certain movements and actions and a way of delivering the lines. You can't all of a sudden stick out of Moonrise Kingdom or Asteroid City. There's a tone of performances that are consistent with that director, that filmmaker, and that piece.
Right.
So no, I love, as a matter of fact, when I was younger, I excelled at drama and couldn't get arrested in comedy. I wound up doing all of the heavy stuff and crying and all of that stuff. And half the time I could do it. Half the time it would be glycerin, or they have little menthol things they blow in your eye and it makes them water.
Oh, wow.
Hell, for Blood Diamond, they just CGI'd a tear down Jennifer Connelly's cheek.
Oh, wow. Too much trouble.
And then I heard another story that's BS, and that they said, Jennifer, can we have a tear? And she said, which cheek? Better if it came over here. And she go, okay. And she cried, and a tear dang down that cheek. So I like that version of the story better, as the actor going, oh yeah, which cheek? Woo!
That's crazy, man. Which cheek? Get an onion over here or somebody. That's crazy stuff. Oh, the movie Adventures in Babysitting. How'd you get that role? How was that?
Grueling auditions. Once again, you get the script, crazy title, and you're like, oh wow, this is the thing. They're going to do this. You can't quite picture it. I don't think I could have, because the commitment that Chris Columbus made to make it Chicago and make it night and dark, and the look of that movie, that's what I couldn't imagine, is how that movie looked. I imagine how the scenes went when I read the script, and it pretty much wound up exactly like that. They changed a lot of the script. There were just mechanics of the plot, places we went, things we did that we changed. And as went, we had a lot of rehearsal, 2 weeks, which was unbelievable, because we would put it on its feet and then be able to play around with it and improvise. And then Sue Richards, the script supervisor, would write that down, and then it would show up in pages. And then you build off of that. It's the Kubrick technique.
Wow.
And you get to, and then you cut. You don't need that. We don't need it. We trim it down to just the things that we really need to just push it, push it, push it. And the thing about Adventures of Babysitting is it just doesn't give you time to think. It just keeps pushing the kids forward from one issue to the next.
Right.
And then while developing them kind of coming of age throughout the whole night. Individually, what you think is great. You got Daryl confronting his sexist kind of ways.
Right.
Brad realizing just because he wants it doesn't mean he gets it.
Right.
Sarah gets to meet her hero. Both
Right.
let down and proven that heroes exist. And Lisa gets, Chris gets to grow up and just realize that she's lying to herself about her boyfriend, and she should move on. It's great on all. And Brenda, oh, poor Brenda. Everyone just forgets about Brenda. And
Yeah.
Penelope was so. I mean, no, she's great in The Relic. Great in Carlito's Way. She's great in everything. But the scream she gives with the jumbo-sized sewer rat, blood curdling. And to watch dailies on that, because we were invited to dailies, and we'd go
cool.
watch every day. After work, you go in wherever the screening room was set up, and that was a joy to watch the outtakes from the whole all the bus station sequences with Penelope. She was great.
It looked like a lot of fun. I gotta say that movie. I wish I was in that movie. It looked like I would have had a great time. I know it, but it had to be fun to show up and just do the scenes, especially when you're younger.
And you're feeling they're working, right? Yeah, when you're younger, okay, you're feeling working. There's a lot of trust because there's no interstitial music. There's no the blues licks come over as we run and the smoke goes. Like all of that stuff, all of the little pieces really, really came together nice. Yeah. All I had to do was, learn my bit. So the 130 other crew members and phenomenal cast. Oh my God, how much of Adventures of Babysitting kept working after that? Even all the bit players, they all just kept working.
Sure. A lot of great people in there, like Elizabeth Shue, though. As a kid, you idolize all these actors, and I was jealous of you for working with Elizabeth Shue, But I'm just saying, it all those movies though was just it made you just daydream, and you're thinking, could this really happen? Did you ever have a babysitter in real life?
Nah, probably not. It wasn't family or something like that. I did have a little brother who was 11 years younger than me, 10 years younger than me. And he had a babysitter that I wound up seeing at the Jet Strip down by LAX strip club. Going out with friends, celebrated their 21st birthday. And we're like, we'll go to the strip club. And we go, and there's my little brother's babysitter. Other than that, no, I have not had any weird babysitting stories.
That's the sequel to that movie that you're going to know.
Don't tell mom the babysitter is a stripper. They did have to change the title of Adventures of Babysitting in the UK market, though.
Oh, really?
And I used to think it was because of babysitting, and they have like au pairs and nannies. They don't know what babysitting it is. And the British fans are like, we know exactly what babysitting is. And they broke it down to me. At the time in the 80s, there was a series of movies called Adventures in Cab Driving, Adventures in Holiday Resort, Adventures, and they were softcore porn.
Oh, wow.
So they were naughty. They were naughty video nasties. So in order to not get confused with that series of films, they would think, oh, it's just an even worse title, Adventures in Babysitting. That's like sounds like the best of the series. So they just wanted to avoid it. So they called it A Night on the Town.
Yeah, I guess that works. Whatever, right? But babysitting, it seemed to be a theme now, because I love, the other babysitting movie, Don't Tell Mom, the babysitter's dead. Now that character in there, you're talking about Corey Feldman earlier. I asked him about the Burbs movie. In the Burbs movie, he's all, hey dude, hey man, and you're kind of like that in that movie, kind of like, spaced out, pothead or whatever. Was that how fun was that to be that guy in that movie?
Oh God. Well, you're playing a character who doesn't care about anybody, totally selfish, self-centered. And it was, I took the part. I really wanted the part because he changes and he goes through a transformation and he cleans up his act and he leans into something productive, the cooking. So, of the Battered or the Purely Legal Matter, that A Question of Love movie, or other important things I've done. Don't Tell
Mhm.
Mom the Babysitter's Dead has actually had more fans come to me and say they were layabouts, sitting on the couch, burnout, and they saw Don't Tell My Babysitter's Dead, and they started cooking, and now they are the head chef at a 5-star resort in Miami, or personal chef on a yacht, or no, seriously. And this isn't 1, 2, 5, 6, dozens fan mail, online, in person at conventions, and that really blew me away. I didn't think
Wow.
that, but it's that part of the character that and this is all, these are just movies, they're not important,
Yeah.
but I take them really seriously when I'm making them, and I like that he had a transformation into cleaning up. That was a great character arc, and you remember characters that change the most. Death is the biggest change. You just don't want to die too early in the movie. You
Yeah.
want most of the movie, then you die.
Hold off on that. Yeah, right. Well, that's not a bad thing. To For people to see a character and really get so caught up in it to make them transform their life. I mean, that has to say something to you. I mean, I know, you might not think it. I don't know. It's a big deal, but I think movies mean a lot to people. Sometimes people don't really separate the reality from fantasy, and sometimes they kind of take it to heart, and they're like,
Well,
I'm
yeah,
going to
we
change
have
my
the
life.
taxi driver incident, and kids setting fire to things after watching Beavis and Butthead. There's been instances where they've tried to pin, or directly the perpetrator said, "Oh, I was inspired by this."
Yeah, right.
So that is unfortunate, but I'd say, oh, it would be terrible if you made movies that were super safe and didn't offend anybody, but they make them. They make them all the time. That's what we're looking at right now.
Yeah.
We're looking at movies that aren't transgressive in any way, and they're not really pushing it or shocking people or making them think. There was a little bit of take this job and shove it in the 80s, and the yuppies. There was a class to kind of like ridicule for the working class, the people paying the $5 to go to see a movie.
Mhm.
Um, and you can't talk down to the working class. So there are movies that are ridiculous now. They'll probably never get remade. Gung Ho, great movie. Love Gung Ho. But wouldn't be remade today. But that had incredible patriotism and actually nationalism. America first.
Yeah.
American manufacturing.
The
God,
good
we
stuff.
also had in the 80s, we had like The Farm, and there were movies about like the Depression, and there were some rough movies that came out that I was not into seeing at the time. I did like I'd rather go see Escape from New York than something super serious.
Yeah, right.
I went to so many movies in the 80s. Oh my God. 2-3 weekend, easy. Everything that came out, go see. Had friends in ushers at the theater, so just walk in, theater hop, all that stuff.
Right.
One of the ushers was Sean Astin,
Oh, cool.
studying for a part, so he got a job as a at the man theaters. I love
That's
his commitment, man. He really goes one step further than I do.
that's one way to do it, though. I mean, he really gets in there and does it. Um, what is an actor though that you've worked with that you just admired so much and really kind of changed your life, and you kind of looked at him like, wow, I really enjoy this.
Billy Peterson on Cousins. I've always had daddy issues, and he was such a man's man with the Buick and the boots, got with Marlboro Reds, and just the whole. He'd been in kick-ass movies like To Live and Die in L.A. and Manhunter, and so that was I would sidle up to Billy Peterson anytime that we were, happen to be on the set together and hang out with him, and just he was just so cool and such this guy's guy. And I don't know what I learned from him, but I guess it's own it, be yourself, and let the chips fall where they may.
Right.
It worked out for him. He has a great career. CSI is such a phenomenal show.
Yeah.
So yeah. Billy Peterson was a huge impact.
Right. And I'm sure you've had a lot of other actors and actresses. Yeah, like you were talking about Michael Landon being serious, and that's something we don't see. Sitting at home and watching TV, we don't think about all those things. But a lot of these actors, they're really serious. They're real. Like you said, they'll tell you something that's maybe you don't want to hear. It's the truth. Did you find that happened as you went along into most of your TV shows that you did? Was there a lot of serious people that were like that? They were kind of stern, and you kind of
No. I meant the opposite with Michael. That even on a serious show, that he still had some levity.
Oh, okay.
That's what I meant. Is you approach the dramatic parts with some humor, and you approach the humor dramatically. The comedy comes from not knowing it's funny.
Okay.
And then think of ordinary people or terms of endearment. There's so much humor in terms of endearment that you cannot ignore that part of it. You're just looking a little bit of a broader range, and you got to try to get into it, but it's all got to be real. Can't just go from 0 to 5th gear. You got to kind of gear in. So every moment has to be pretty authentic, and that's where you got to have time and a really good script, director who trusts the cast, but also can really lead them and set up good scenarios and blocking for them to just live it and do it. And good scenes, good 3-4 page scenes, hard to come by these days. Everything's just so kind of story beat run. It's weird. I had an agent one time that was like, "Well, I know a Keith Coogan part when I see it." I didn't know what that really meant, but I didn't know what that meant. But they knew. They could see it.
He did. Yeah, he knew what it meant. A lot of these shows though that I grew up watching, like Silver Spoons. I mean, do you ever talk to any of those people from those shows or
I
reminisce?
see. No, I mean, we saw a couple of cast members here and there over the years. My episode, one of Amy Dolan's first jobs, and I also Billy Jane, who when we were younger he was called Billy Jacoby. He was we did a couple of things together. He was a bad guy to my good guy in the raccoon thingy. He Rick, we did see Rick or Ricky, I guess he's going by that again. At one of Corey Feldman's birthday parties. And I know I kind of just drove by that, didn't I? And Alfonso, we see Alfonso from time to time.
Cool.
And who, really ran with it, because I think that being able to host and he's just keeps working, and Alfonso is great, very positive, and he always had a joy coming to the functions or parties and stuff like that. There were a lot of teen parties and stuff, events, just to form kind of a community, because most of the time the other kids were your competition. So it's nice to be the thing where you're not, openly competing against them, and hang out and have fun and talk about anything but show business.
Yeah, right. None of that stuff at the party. Oh,
we can talk about movies, but as long as nobody here was in any of them.
Yeah, don't say anything about it.
That's the rule.
Yeah, right. What about, you talking about competition? Was there anybody in your kind of age group that you kind of
River Phoenix, Christian Slater?
Okay, there you go.
That's it. River Phoenix and Christian Slater. God damn it. From
You're like,
well, I had booked Seven Brides for Seven Brothers, which was a Disney TV series version of the movie, but my little brother was due to be born at the time that they were supposed to be shooting in Salinas, California. My mother said, I'm not going to give birth in Salinas. So we turned the series down and it went to the second choice, River Phoenix.
oh wow,
That was his first job. He could really play and sing guitar. They were going to just fake it and have someone else sing for me. So it's like, it's so funny what they'll put up with in TV. It's so funny why people get cast or not. And in the 80s, it actually came down to a thing called a Q rating.
well,
They
see,
walk up
you're
to people. They walk
oh,
up to people on the street, and they hold up your name, and they go, "Do you know who this is?" And if they do, they get a point, and if they don't, and then you get a rating, a percentage rating of name recognition. It's called a Q rating. And I was on TV so freaking much in the 80s that it was like I was up there. They're like, "Oh, we know that kid." I was that kid on those shows, is what I was.
that's right. That's what I used to
But
call you.
I was lucky to never be a Richie Cunningham, to never be, you know, uh, to never be the lead in a series that ran for a couple of years, because then you're always known for that part. No one's going to allow you to reach out or branch out. And so my family had given me this insight of you never want to get hot because you can go cold. You just want to be medium. You just better be warm in terms of your career. Be a journeyman, be a troubadour, be just a working actor. That's that whole fear of the network. And dude, they fired John Boy. Don't be bigger than the thing. And it comes from, I worked for Disney 6 times, and the only star in a Disney project is Disney. It's the name that 2-year-olds recognize, along with Coca-Cola and McDonald's. By 2,
Right.
they know what the Disney logo is and what Mickey means. And they create a new generation of fans every single year. Every single year, a new group gets up to the age that they can enjoy the animated films, or so
Right.
Disney is one of my favorite employers. This is why I kept my nose clean, or at least never got caught in the 90s. That is a brand. I mean, it's a family brand, and they have gone through so many years of great storytelling.
Right.
So they'll, some of their ballsier stuff, like Rogue One, that was one of the better Star Warses. Like, oh, let's take this chance. He's an effects supervisor. Yeah, he had this idea. He told me in the elevator. We're gonna make a movie on that. Yeah. Rogue
Yeah,
One,
right.
fantastic Star Wars.
Of course.
You cannot plan a good movie. You cannot. It really takes so much work. Everybody involved. Constantly. It doesn't just magically happen. You don't hop in and ride along with it. Everyone
Right.
has to push. Everyone has to push one of those big vehicles.
Yeah, it takes a lot of people. I understand that. So what is your formula these days for acting and doing what you do? I mean, what's your mindset? How do you set out to do whatever you do? I mean, do you have a certain
It's
look at?
yeah, I do. I don't have the time that I did when I was a teenager to spend days doing research, or he plays guitar, learn how to play guitar. He cooks, learn how to cook.
Right.
I can't do that, but I have also 53 years old. I have the life experience that I've, done most of the stuff that characters that have done to a point. And actors have to be pretty broad, shallow knowledge of a lot of things. So there's a process of getting the scene, learning it, learning, what the scene's about, and then learning the lines, and then learning the parts that inspire you, that you go, well, that's a nothing line. That's just, oh, hey, your car's ready, sir. Well, what kind of car is it? Is it a beater? Is it really nice? What's your relationship with this guy? Could he hire you? Could he not? Car's ready, sir. Or it's a beater. Your car is ready, sir. I mean, there's a million ways to go with that. So then you start making choices, and you start, and then there's a theory: don't make a choice too early. So just learn your lines. Just learn your lines. Learn what it's about, and then when they say rolling, that's when you start making the choices. Right there, make them when they're happening. I do a little bit of both. I plan a lot of different possibilities. I love to research the scene and and go, I do quote improv a lot, but really it's just the night before at 3 o'clock in the morning, writing down a lot of possibilities. And then if they work at the moment, I'll whip it out, make everybody laugh on set, and then all of a sudden it's part of the scene.
Cool. That's cool.
And you just got to sneak it in the first rehearsal. Then they go, what? Huh? Oh, that's good. We'll keep it. Okay, cool. Sometimes they tell you, lose the thing.
Right.
And know that it is all, the ego is very checked when you're cut. When a scene's cut, a moment, a line, whole role, it luckily for me hadn't happened a lot. And you keep working, and it happens. You go, oh, they cut that. Oh, they cut a little bit of that. Oh, they cut they cut everything. You saw the side of my face. They still pay you? Okay, cool. And you learn to let it go. You do your best, whatever happens on screen, whatever they use. There was stuff I was shooting where I go, they don't need this. They literally do not need this scene right here. It is not needed for the part. They should cut it. I didn't say that out loud, but,
Okay.
but I was right.
Of course you were. The experience.
So, yeah. And it's not about you. Just, give to the story, give up to that. And when someone said you can't think about the audience, but I'm like, screw that. I want to work the audience. I want to get that laugh. I love it. There's nothing like peeking in a theater and hearing entire audience laugh at once at something. And then it repeats it, whether they watch it at home or on cable or whatever. You get that same laugh. And that's everybody, the writing, thing, camera, editing, sound, direction, everyone coming together to get that laugh. But that's it. That's why I do it. And that's all I work towards. And I get a piece of material. I'm like, how do I make it that Keith Coogan part?
That's awesome, man. Well, I won't hold you up or anything. I've enjoyed it. My phone is dying. I don't want my phone to cut off. And I'm like, I just hung up on Keith Coogan.
Oh no.
And I'll hate myself forever. This has been fun, man. I've been wanting to talk to you for a while. I know over on Twitter, I follow you over there and see you over there. But it's interesting to hear the inside scoops and the inside feelings of actors and understand kind of how that works. But I hope all the best for you. I know you can't say everything that's going on in the future about certain things.
But
projects.
You can go enjoy Wrong Reasons, just released on Amazon Prime, Apple Plus, blah blah blah. Blu-ray, DVD, produced by Kevin Smith, starring Ralph Garman. Kevin's in it, Harley Quinn's in it. David Koechner, it's fantastic turn in there, great dramatic turn. David, you kicked ass in your scene and you know it. David showed up between leaving some other set and on his way to do something else. And he sits down and he looks at me as he's getting his hair makeover and he goes, what are we doing today? What is this? Okay, here's the scene. Here's what this is. He didn't know. I mean, and he knew his stuff. He was totally prepared, but and that's the thing about great real improv artists. They can be in that moment. So they don't need all this preparation. That's the thing. I'm too afraid of letting people see my real self. I'm this very private, shy actor that, I have all of these kind of social things. I can handle a room of 3 people. I can handle a room of 30 people. I can handle a room of 300 people. But there's some people that are just really present. They scare me. Sally Kirkland, I'm looking at you. Crazy. For someone who's so rigid on trying to get that moment that's in the script and get to this thing and very structured, and I kind of attack it in a very thorough method. Then they say rolling and you're in a scene with Sally Kirkland. Forget everything. Oh my God. But now, and there's no in between. She is the end. She is the marker.
Okay, that's it.
For improvising or being in the moment or being present in a scene. She's also as far as you can get from continuity, saying your lines the same way twice, standing in the same place, hitting a prop, doing anything the same way twice, because you can't. It's another moment. It's a different time. That happened last take. This is now a new take. And that is the kind of thing that's where you get to great performances. So cool. That's how I'm working on doing a little bit of both. A lot of the prep and then also being able to let loose at that moment when they roll. to blackout, not know what you did. And later you see it and you go, "Ooh, that was pretty crazy." That's what I'm trying to get to right now, because there's
Well,
no stakes. It's fun. It's an elective. You
yeah.
don't have to go to drama. You have to go to math and English and all that other stuff. Maybe a little PE. But you don't have to go to drama. So I have chosen to do this, and I love it too much.
Eh, it's never enough. It's not too much. It's never
So
enough.
Wrong Reasons, do get the Blu-ray because I own the bloopers. Oh my god!
Ah,
And somebody told me that, and I'm like, yeah, right. And then I saw it, and I went, oh, okay. That's actually my best work I've ever done is actually on
is
the
that
blooper reel of Wrong Reasons.
okay? I have to check that
I'm
out.
not kidding. I still crack up when I think about it. And then look for something in theaters in February. That's
Okay,
all I can say. Yeah.
that will work. Well, I appreciate you talking to me,
Thanks.
and
Thanks for the time. Yes.
it's been a treat, man. And yeah, I'm looking forward. I think I'm going to go watch Don't Tell Mom the Babysitter's Dead. Hey, can you
Yeah.
say this for me before you go? Can you say the dishes are done, man?
Dishes are done, man. Cleans them down to the shine.
Yes,
Rock and roll.
rock and roll. Awesome. Hey, the character in that movie, what bands would he listen to? Because I have a music podcast.
Megadeth, Skid Row, Motley Crue. His light listening would be Metallica and I guess Guns N' Roses. I mean, it was just hitting at that time.
Yes,
I want to say something like
91.
that. Yeah. So, Faith No More.
Yeah.
That was a Christina pick, though.
Ah, that's a good one though. I like that.
Dawkins, Scorpions.
I just
He
talked to
probably
George
would
Lynch.
consider. I think Kenny would consider Scorpions the greatest rock band ever.
Scorpions. Awesome.
Yeah.
So cool.
Yeah.
I'll have to crank those tunes up in honor of Kenny. Hey, thanks, man. Thanks a lot, man.
Thanks, man.
We'll do this again one day. I appreciate you.
I appreciate it.
All right, man. Bye.
All right, we're going rock and roll.
Rock and roll.
Yes, so cool talking to Keith. Hey, if you'd like to know more about Keith, go to his website, keithcooganonline.com, for more information. And looking forward to seeing you again. Thanks for tuning in. And until next time, always remember to keep the music real.